everyone, and welcome back to my channel. Are you frustrated that you have applied for so many jobs but you are unable to receive any call up till now? Are you still thinking that I have sent my resume in so many different organizations but still no interview call? Then there is something which has to be addressed. Now we have to work on resume, but on effective resumes. Imagine a resume as your personal marketing brochure. It's a concise, usually one-page document that highlights your skills, experiences, and achievements relevant to a job or university application. Its main goal is to convince the person reading it that you are a strong candidate and that they should invite you for an interview. Think of it this way. When you want to buy something, you often look at a brochure or a product description that tells you its features and benefits. A resume does the same thing for you. A resume is actually a strategy to market yourself. First, let's talk about resume evolution. First written resumes were documented during the Renaissance period. Then by the 20th century, standardized resume formats became popular. Then digital resumes were introduced. In the 21st century, resumes transformed into personal branding tools showcasing unique skills. Recently, video resumes have emerged, allowing candidates to present themselves creatively. There are three essential resume components: contact information, work experience, and education. In contact information, you have to include your name, your telephone numbers, and your email addresses. In work experience, list your job titles, companies, and dates of employment, highlighting your key responsibilities and achievements. In education, you have to give the detail of your degrees, institutions, and graduation dates optionally by mentioning any relevant coursework or any other degree that you have done that is supporting your qualification as well. Showcase your unique skills. When crafting your resume, it's essential to highlight your unique skills. Think about what sets you apart from others in your field. This could include specialized training, certificates, or personal achievements. Consider incorporating both hard and soft skills. Hard skills are quantifiable abilities learned through experience or education, while soft skills reflect your interpersonal qualities. Tailoring your resume to align with job description can significantly increase your chances. Emphasize relevant skills that showcase your potential value to employers. Resume formatting tips. The resume should be a clean one. That means it should be easy to read and visually it should be very appealing. It should not be boring. Now the next thing is readability. Clear fonts should be used. Avoid using joining fonts or some very fancy fonts. Your resume is a reflection of you and your journey. So it has to be prepared very effectively. Now let's talk about some good resumes and some bad resumes. There is a scenario. A person was applying for a part-time retail assistant job. Now what he did or she did, name was written along with the email. It's a sample. So here we have given this sample of John Smith. So that means it's the resume of a male person along with the contact information. Summary. Now at the top you can see it's written summary. Summary means what that person is looking for in that organization. What are his expectations? But what he has written, just look at that. I want a job. I'm a student. That's the summary. What he is actually looking for. Experience. School, home. Just look at the example. In school, he has written studied stuff, and at home, he has written helped out sometimes. Well, in skills, can use a computer and friendly. Education, A levels, doing them now. That's it. What do you think? What kind of resume was that? Was that a good one or a bad one? There was nothing clear in that resume. Everything was so vague. It seemed like a student has applied for a job, but the student is not clear that what kind of job he is applying for and what he really wants to do in his life, in his career. So that was a completely bad resume. So let's see why that was a bad resume. It was vague and there were no details. Studied stuff, helped out sometimes. These tell the employer nothing specific. So that means the employer was might be confused like what the person is looking for in that organization. No achievements. It doesn't show what John did or achieved. Journal skills were mentioned. Can use a computer and just friendly. Poor formatting. There was no formatting at all. Everything was jumbled up. There were no headings. There were no bullets. It was just a one word answer. There was no clarification. Professional tone. I want a job is too informal. You cannot write this kind of statement in your resume. I want a job. Why do you want that? You are marketing yourself, so you have to mention about your skills and qualifications, that how you are suitable for that job. But there was nothing like that. No reason at all. Now let's look at a very good resume. Name has been mentioned, contact, phone number, LinkedIn profile, a good summary objective has been written. Now the key skills. It's the most important section in a resume. Just look at the skills: customer service, teamwork, communication, organization, IT proficiency, and in front of each skill, the person has clearly mentioned what he knows actually, or what she knows actually, what she can do, what she can offer to the company, and how it's going to match with the job description of the company. Then look at the education section. Name of the institution, date, subjects, result, everything has been mentioned very clearly. That means this person is a very good student or was a very good student. Now look at the experience and achievements. What has been done here, the name of the job along with the year has been mentioned on the top. Then below that, the job duties have been mentioned as well. Please remember this point, that whenever you write down about your work experience in a resume, you have to mention the name of the organization, in which year you were working there, what were your job duties, and if you have worked in any other organization, then do mention that, and give all the clear details, the right details. You are not supposed to exaggerate. Now let's look at this thing, that why this resume was a very good one. There was a clear objective summary. That means what the person was looking for in the organization. The achievements were there, education was written there, skills were mentioned, there was a professional tone. So all these points need to be present if you have to write an effective resume. Please, before moving on, I would like to share one thing. Once you have to market yourself, you have to be very clear about this thing, that you, whatever you are writing down in your resume, it has to be right. The information should be correct, information should be written. Do not exaggerate. Do not write down those points which you are not sure about. Whatever you have done, whatever evidences of your work, about your qualification, about your skills you have to only mention that information. You cannot write down anything on your own. It's something very serious and something very important, because it develops a relationship of trust. Once the organizations receive the CVs or the resumes, they really try to understand, they analyze the whole information, and at first glance, they can very quickly identify whether that person has really done that or not, because they can also check about that information from your previous organizations as well. Now, there are three critical questions that I'm going to share with all of you. Let's read them. And once you read them, try to analyze the situation and try to identify what has been asked and what could have been done better. The first scenario is, if a hiring manager spends only 30 seconds scanning resume, what three pieces of information do you need to absolutely see within that time? And how can you make that included in that CV or resume? So the situation is, there's a manager who has received your resume, and what three things he is going to look at immediately within few seconds? Think about it. Second scenario, imagine you are applying for two very different opportunities: a university place to study medicine and a part-time job at a local cafe. How would your resume change for each application, and why is tailoring it so important? Well, you have to apply for two different positions. Do you think only one resume is going to work in both the organizations, or do you really need to make few changes in some sections of both of your resume? If you are applying for a teaching job, and if you are applying for some, um, you can say for some industrial job, do you think, are you going to write down the same things that you are writing down for the teaching resume, and you are going to mention all those skills that you can handle children or manage the classroom very, very effectively? Are you going to write down this point in the other one as well, where you have to apply for some industrial job, for some marketing job? Obviously no. Here you have to remember this point, that whatever information you include in your resume, that has to match with the job you are applying for. If you're applying for a teaching job, you have to write down the skills accordingly. You have to mention that you have good communication skills, good interpersonal skills, classroom management skills, team management skills. Let's move on. Besides just listing my experiences, how can I use my resume to tell a story about my personal qualities such as problem solving, resilience, or creativity, even if I have not had formal work experience? Now, if you want to mention about something and you do not have experience for that particular skill, how can you mention that? Can you change the name of that skill? Or can you write it down differently, or can you mention something within the brackets in front of that skill? Think about it. Why tailoring is so important? Because you have to show a relevance between your CV, and the position you are applying for. If you are applying for a teaching position, or if you are applying for some retail job, or if you are applying for a librarian job, if you are applying for an engineer or medical job, your job description, your job summary, your skills, your certifications and training, they should match. And how they can match? Obviously, if you have done that, you will mention that. If you have not done anything, then do not mention anything on your own. Efficiency. Employers and admissions officers quickly scan resumes. If they see information that isn't relevant to their specific opening, then they assume that you are not good fit. So obviously, if they are going to read a resume that this is the name of the person, he has done this degree, he is good in arts, he has good arts experience, he can do painting and stuff, then how can that person apply for a retail job? I hope this was a helpful session for all of you, and the tips were really helpful in order to make a good resumes in near future. If you like the video, please click on the like button and subscribe to my channel. Thank you for watching. Till then, take care. Bye bye.